Cool. Hey everyone.
Hey, see, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Great.
What's up, TDA?
Hey, Lottie.
Hey, how you guys doing?
Yeah,
on,
good. Yeah, great.
Casper?
Hey.
Oh,
Hey, Ma.
Hey everyone,
What's good?
how's things going?
Hey, yeah, great. Nice to you. Yeah, all good. How are you?
Most excellent.
How were the last sessions, Tom? I wasn't able to participate.
Oh yeah, it was good. So I think there's a variety. So number one, the first one, I think was quite general. Number two was kind of digging into our first smart contract, like making a ERC20 token. So a little bit of Solidity, a little bit of Python. Yeah, I think some Python. The number three was a little bit more Solidity. Trying to build a kind of like a token sale contract.
What kind of contract? Sorry, I didn't get that.
It was a ERC20.
Okay.
Yeah. Just like a just kind of a toy example, how you can build your own ERC20 token, and then kind of query the contract. And then so the last session was more interesting in that it was about how can you build a token sale contract. So something that lets you something that lets you sell the token, on chain. Kind of reusing the previous one.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. So it was quite. I mean, I think it was quite light on the Solidity. I mean, there wasn't really much code. It's more about just talking through the end-to-end process. How to kind of what dev environment you use to build smart contracts, how you deploy them, that kind of stuff.
Cool.
Yeah.
Should have been there. Is that all recorded?
Yes, it's on our. So we have Pokey put them onto YouTube. Pokey put them onto the Polaris YouTube. So they should all be there, the recordings.
Cool.
Yeah.
I
I'll
will
send you a
check
link
it out.
later. Yeah, cool.
So basically, It allows you to build your own scan token and sell it.
Exactly. Exactly. Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. It was. I think we had some questions around. Hey, if I do this, will I get sued by the SEC? So I had to put a disclaimer that it's just for education purposes.
Yeah, you never know what the SEC does, really. So better off this
Exactly.
way.
Exactly.
I don't know. Do you want to start? I don't know how long it takes for all people to arrive.
Yeah, I think we're kind of past the hour. I think we can just get going. Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. Thank you very much for agreeing to do this. It's super cool.
Yeah, it's going to be fun. Thanks for inviting me. Happy to be here. Question is, I thought a little bit about what I was going to say and show, and we have a couple of options. Like we talked about it already. I can show you my general tech stack, how I develop and deploy my stuff. I can show you around on the Trinitizer front end and go a little deeper into the functions and the tools I used for building that kind of stuff. Maybe as a first step to give you a general overview of what's inside, and then as it's a blockchain coding session after all, we can dig a little deeper into the code. But I was wondering what you guys want to hear. Actually, I'm very open-minded. So if you have some sort of special interest, let me know, and we can discuss that.
Yeah, I mean that sounds great for me. Anyone else have any opinions?
Well, then I'll just go, I guess.
Cool.
Okay. So maybe you guys can tell me what you know about coding already, so I know where to pick you up. I know small, you're very experienced, so you're basically a very advanced level. But if there are any beginners, would be good to know, so I can keep it simple in the beginning and maybe get a little deeper in the end. Maybe Lotine and West. What about you guys? What are you interested in?
Well, I'm definitely interested in seeing how the Trinitizer came about. I was learning how to code a little bit, but I didn't get nearly advanced enough to actually create anything. And then I got into building the Times with WordPress. So, as Pokey would say, it's a lot of drag and drop, not much code. So, yeah, I'm just interested in seeing your techniques and how that came about.
Okay. I just. How long do we have anyway?
We haven't. I mean, we have officially an hour, but there's no hard stop, I guess. Yeah. So whatever you're comfortable with. Yeah.
Okay. I'll just keep going and let's make this like an open round. If you have anything that interests you, just stop me, interrupt me, and let me know what you want to know. So basically, I'm going to share my screen. You tell me if you can see this. Sorry, I got a little cold. I gotta clean my nose every once in a while. So you can see my screen?
Yep. Looks good.
Okay, cool. So basically, well, let me just start with the Trinitizer. So basically, as you all know, there are like 6 main sections. Let's use a wallet so we see a little more. So that's basically the core of the whole Trinitizer. That's what it all started with. Actually, I don't know if you guys know, but I built some, or I don't have the link now, but I built some rarity tool in a Google Sheet a while back. and put a lot of effort in there, and no one really used it, which was kind of cool. And I understand, because it was very inconvenient to use it, to make a copy of a Google Sheet and then use it. No one would do that, and I figured, okay, I really got to do better. And it was like December of 2022, and it was after the Waves drop, or in the middle of it, and I figured, okay, it really sucks to be dragging around your trinities in an Excel sheet, and it's so complicated, and this could be something to provide a little more value. And then I thought about that, and then in January, I think it was January, Sailor and I, we were talking about Discord bots and all that kind of stuff. And then I just presented that idea to him, and he thought it was great. And he was actually one of the driving forces for me to do it. And he was very, very supportive. So I don't know if he will ever listen to that, but big shout out to you, man. That was really, really awesome how you supported me with the project. And yeah, so I basically I made a draft of a presentation and showed it to him, and then I figured, okay, the first thing I got to do is really develop an algorithm that allows me to reliably calculate the trinities from a portfolio, and that really wasn't easy in the first place. So the algorithm is something we can have a deeper look into. It's a lot of working with objects. Maybe as a side note or a disclaimer, I have never been a big of a developer. I have been developing websites for a long time, but I have never been a JavaScript expert, and that kind of bugged me. And I wanted to learn stuff anyway. And so this project just was perfect timing for me, a perfect opportunity. And so basically, walking through the Trinitizer, you can really see how I progressed with my skills. In the beginning, I had very messy code and it was very inexperienced, and it got better and better in the end, until I basically just was getting so good at it that I could work with ChatGPT and make AI basically do all the code and have me become the architect of the whole solution. And that's basically what happened in the trading section. I built that. I believe there's maybe only 10% of code written by myself. All the other code was by ChatGPT and just refined by me and quality checked by me and debugged by me. So that's something I personally consider to be very, very empowering, this experience. And I encourage everyone to use AI, because it's such a great opportunity to advance and to learn more and be really productive. So I can maybe in the end I can talk a little bit about my experiences with AI and programming if anyone's interested. So yeah, basically I built the algorithm and figured, okay, if you have such a tool, it would be a shame if no one uses it. So I figured, okay, let's do the NFT gallery as well, because this would allow people to share their images on social media. And by doing that, the thing is, by doing that, the Trinitizer would get promoted at the same time, right? So I figured that goes hand in hand, and that's why I build this section. You get your images with the Trinitizer logo in the bottom, and I guess that helped a little bit to spread the word. And it's kind of a fun thing to play around with this stuff, add your own text, add your own styles, and even QR codes that could point to your OpenSea profile, or what else? Well, all kind of stuff. Upload your own images. So there are pretty nice functions inside and pretty nice features. And what I used for this is basically a library. It's called GridStack.js, and it basically does exactly this. It allows you to resize tiles and push them around and all that kind of stuff. So I just adapted that to make it work for your portfolio. And then there's the rewards section, which is basically an advanced feature of the wallet, because it iterates over the algorithm in many steps. and you know, suddenly there were gens, and the algorithm was suddenly not so straightforward anymore, because you had your classic trinity, and then you had a gen trinity, and those were separate, and then you also had your chains. And so basically those were 4 kinds of algorithms I had to build. And within the reward section, I don't know if anyone ever realized, but I have to calculate the gen trinities and the classic trinities. And from the classic trinities, I know how much land I get, which again counts towards land sales 2 and 3. So basically you have 3 kinds of algorithms running. So basically it says you're allowed to get by the trinities. You have 13 gens, and by having those 13 gens and 13 trinity totems and 13 parcels of Genesis land, you are, if you like model this accordingly, you end up with 22 parcels of non-Genesis land. So and to make this all visible, I used these parts down below to make people understand what kind of trinities there are and what the long-term effects of having them are. So, and then there's let's go to the trading section as the last step. There's the rarity tool, where you can basically, for example, inspect your wallet, which you have put into the Trinitizer, or you can just input your wallet address, and then you have this feature where you can just compare stuff, and it goes down here, and you have basically the option to make pretty good buying decisions, because you have an easy comparison of everything. And now maybe a little preview to the trading section, because that's what you can do here. If you have the gens, for example, which is the default setting here in the chart, you can simply pick the gens you like. First of all, it's visible which ones are how rare by how big the dots are and how dark they are. And then you can just click on the dots, and by that you can transfer them to this tool below here. Okay, we have the wolves still in here. So this helps you make pretty solid buying decisions if you're into rarity. And then back then, this was my favorite part. This was the statistics section, because we have the animation stuff, and you have the tunnel. I love the tunnel. I think it's a great user experience. I really love building that. But in the end, there was the trading section, and that really I put all my knowledge and all the features I could ever imagine in there, because you have the OpenSea listings combined with rarity, which I think is pretty cool. If you want to buy rare stuff, you get a very nice overview for that. And then you have the push notifications. I think no one really used it aside from Saylor and you, West, who helped me debugging, which was kind of nice of you guys. I'll try to get them. I'll get them running later. So and basically, it allows you to receive a push notification every time a sale is done. It's kind of like the Discord sales bot, only in your browser. And you have the activities tracker, where you can just see all the sales and all the transfers and even all the mints, for example. And you can get your own wallet history. For example, if you use your wallet up here, or you can use the history of this specific token. It's kind of like what you see in OS on the items page, or and the history of the buyer, for example. So you can check your own Wilder World specific transactions that you did, like sales and mints and all that kind of stuff. Yeah, and then there's another feature, and then I'll stop talking for a while, which is the hold on. Oh no, it's actually here. When you're on an item page, you can basically drag this bookmarklet into your browser, and when you click it being an OS, you get redirected to the Trinitizer, and it shows you all the rarity data for this item. So yeah, and that's basically it. So we got a lot of algorithm and working with objects and arrays. In here we have plugins like GridStack, or the plugin that transforms the HTML into images, which you can download. We have the advanced algo section here. We have OpenSea listings and transaction histories here. And here it's all about animation. So now you guys tell me what is most interesting to you, and then we'll dig a little deeper into the section, looking at the code and what it does. But so you tell me. Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, we
Okay.
can.
Okay.
Yeah, there's so much amazing stuff here that I don't know where to begin. But I was really interested in the tunnel. How did you code that up?
It's an amazing animation. I'm sorry. Animation library. It's called GSAP or GreenTalk. It does all great kind of stuff. It's basically interactive animations built with JavaScript. You can see this totally built with it. It's SVG based. You can do morphing and animate along lines, and you have a huge repository of demos. You should really check it out. You can morph kind of stuff. So and that's happening with only a few lines of code. I can show you. Logo. Okay, that's the Congrats logo. That's not it. Here. Basically, it's all the same syntax. You just set your SVG elements to certain attribute values, and then you say animated to, say which item you want to animate, what the duration is, and you want to animate the opacity, for example, with a duration of, oh no, starting after 2 seconds, and then you just build on top of it, and you have a timeline, and you basically only fill your timeline with a few lines of code, and you can do very nice things very, very easily. So this is cool. And the tunnel is basically one of the example projects in here. So I did not build this tunnel animation myself. I just gave it another look, make it look a little more Wilder World like. I used the triangles inside it and all that kind of stuff. So it's basically all done with GSAP, and it's fantastic to use this tool.
Nice. Looks really powerful.
It is. It's really, really nice stuff. So I don't know. You guys want to have a look at the algorithm, for example, or you want to dig a little deeper into alchemy? That gets us a little closer to blockchain coding. Maybe I just show you. It's basically when I decided to build the Trinitizer, I had to make sure that the algorithm is working. So I created this tool that lets me check certain scenarios. So basically what I'm doing is first I'm sorting all the different items by their collections. And it's basically just an object into which I push all the items. And from that, I build another object, which is the chain matrix. All that I'm doing is I'm taking the wildcards and fill the holes which are there with the wildcards. So as you can see, here's my crib, and I got for the kicks, I got a hole here. So I'm basically just taking this wildcard and I put it inside this hole. And then basically the next wildcard you can see I put in here. That's this one. This is the next hole, and then this one would be the next hole. And so I got my my chain matrix, which looks like that. And it gets a little more tricky when you look at the Trinity matrix, because there's several steps involved. First, you have your collection object. Let's call it this way, and then I build a mechanism to monitor every single step. So basically what happens here is I'm moving all the items up the whatever you might call it, the pipeline, so that only 3 stay here. And now you will have this row where only 3 should stay here, and so forth and so forth. And in the end, you end up having distributed all your items so that there are only 3 in one row, and then you finalize it and you have your basically Trinity matrix. And that was kind of tricky, and especially for me, as I had very little experience working with objects. And so that was a very good exercise, and I guess I got it by now. And well, and then I had to get all the data from the blockchain, and that was the critical decision I had to make. Either run a web server by which I connect to the blockchain on demand, meaning if someone puts in his wallet here, I basically connect to the blockchain and retrieve all the data related to his wallet, and then I build it and model it so that it becomes the Trinity matrix. But for me, there were 2 disadvantages, 2 basic ones. First of all, I had no experience back then running a web server, and the hoster, where I only pay a very small amount to have that stuff hosted, he wouldn't be very happy for me, and if I ran a web server there, because he gave me special privileges in a actually very, very confined hosting package, and so I didn't want to stretch that. And then I did not want the external dependency, because what if the service I use for querying the blockchain is not available? So I figured, okay, I basically use as much of the static data and put it in the database. And so what I'm basically doing is, I can show you. Basically what I'm doing is I have all the collection data in here. So basically you see you have 24,000 items, which is the amount of all items in all Wilderworld connectors, like the 6,369 wheels and the 3,000 waves and so on. It all adds up to 24,000. They're all in here. It's static data. I don't need to query this data from the blockchain all the time. And so I put it in here. And basically all I do is I change the wallet address, the ENS domains, which I use for Here in the trading section. No, I'm sorry. It's not all perfect. So here you can see you get his OpenSea name, for example, and you get his ETH addresses, which is pretty nice because you can identify people you might want to look for in Discord, for example, if you want to do an OTC deal rather than buy on OpenSea or whatever. So I figured that helped. So basically, all but the last three columns is static data, and that's a lot of static data. And so I figured it's just put it in the database and don't query it all the time. And what I do, sorry, is basically I have a script querying Alchemy. Alchemy is just a blockchain API service which provides many nice endpoints to all different sorts of blockchain content like NFTs or whatever. I was specifically focused on NFTs. So basically what I'm doing is, or what I started with is I'm running the script. Hold this. Oops. No. Yeah, here you go. So basically, I query every contract. Here you go. Here you see the contract addresses, and then I use the Alchemy endpoint get owners for contract, and I write all that data into a JSON file. So what I do next is I use that data to query another endpoint. Now you can see for every holder address in this file, I'm basically the token IDs they have. And for those token IDs, I write their wallet address into the database. So that way I can make sure that for every token ID, meaning for every NFT, there is the correct owner assigned to it in the database. So in the beginning, I'm stopping this now. In the beginning, I had a cron job running every 2 hours, and that was bad practice. So I went on to do to learn about and understand what webhooks are, and used one of these to basically trigger a script on my server, which initiates these scripts running all the time that an NFT transfer of those contracts happens. So I'll do a quick break here and just stop and ask if you guys understand, if you want to know something specific about that kind of stuff.
So, where do you host your SQL server?
My what?
Your database.
My database, it's just a very small provider in Germany.
Oh, okay.
It's a regular hosting package, really, with a little more special service for me. I have my node server running there. I can show you. This is basically my hosting environment or my file system. And I can configure my cron jobs and my databases in their backend. And yeah, that's it.
Oh, nice. Nice.
So, and what may be interesting is to talk a little bit about Alchemy. Because Tom, you know Alchemy anyway, right? I don't have to show you lots of stuff.
Mhm.
So what you have here, for example, it's really easy to query Alchemy. You have your endpoints like get the floor price data and to get NFT sales, which is not very reliable, unfortunately. Sometimes items are missing, especially when they are sold on Blur. Sometimes it's a problem, and to get floor price, RP was always a mess, never worked. So I used OpenSea in the end after I got my OpenSea API key. And now let me check. It's very easy. Like if you want to get the owners for the collection, you basically have your languages you can use. I'm using Node, for example. So basically, what you do is you just get the contract address. In here, I use this project. I usually have another user with Alchemy, but I'm using this just to show you guys stuff. That's why I am exposing my API keys now, because it doesn't matter. It's a pretty clean account and no one can really mess with it. Alchemy is for free anyway, as long as you are within certain rate limits and monthly quotas. So everyone can very easily get their own API key and then play around with that kind of stuff. Oh, here's my, okay. So basically what I'm doing is put it in here. And now I'm getting all the holders of Voice collection put out here. And it's very easy. You can just copy that stuff and put it in here. And voila, you have it queried in your own environment, whatever you're using. And then it was only a few simple steps to do it. So Alchemy is very easy and they have a great service. Sometimes it's not reliable, but that's only true basically for those two endpoints, which is the floor price and the get NFT sales endpoint. So generally an awesome service. And yeah, what you can also do is what I did, because I didn't want a cron job run every 2 hours and have a delay, data not being really up to date. I had several situations where a new Wilder just bought his first Trinity, came to Discord and said, "Oh, it's not showing in Trinitizer. Did I do something wrong? Did I buy it?" Everyone was scared, and so I figured, okay, I have to quickly solve this, and that's why I used the webhook, so that it's actually real time. I mean, it's a small delay of a minute or so, I guess, but that's reasonable. So basically, what you do is you just say, here it is. you just say, okay, you want to use the NFT activity webhook. You create a webhook, put in your contract address. If you want to filter down to a certain token, you can even do that. And then you enter the URL of the script that you want to trigger if any transaction is happening for that contract address. So basically, inside my app folder, I have my webhook PHP file, which fetches the event information sent by the webhook, and this is basically publicly exposed, and that's why I'm not directly triggering a Node.js script. And this one is basically passing the information about the webhook on to sorry, and you go here. It's only called server because I initially intended to make it a server, but it's really not. And so I have my webhook.js, and that's where all the magic happens, basically. I have my different APIs, and what I'm doing here is I get the webhook data. If it's got the wrong credentials, I exit the process so no one, Lotine can't hack me. And then I go on and fetch the OpenSea usernames and write it into the database for the corresponding token. I do the same with the ETH domains, and I update the wallet address, which is the new owner, after a transfer or a sale. Then I need to query different APIs to get sales, regular transfers, and mints and DAO mints. I realized that when trying to do this feature where you can sort by mints here. So now you can see basically all the wave mints that happened, and you will see a lot of mints now happening for one wallet. That's the last mints that were happening by the marketing wallet. Takes a little bit of time because it's a lot of data to query. But here you can see it. It's like the last couple of waves that have been minted. And it's the Wilder World marketing wallet. Actually, let's check what's going on there. Okay. So they mostly got, makes sense, wolves and waves and some other stuff. Wow. A lot of wolves. A lot of wolves. Yeah, no trinities though. Well, okay. So that's why I'm sorry. That's why I'm querying all the deployer addresses to check what was actually a mint and to differentiate it from sales or regular transactions. So that was a bit of a pain in the ass, but well, I did that. Yeah, those are the DAO and marketing mints, and well, okay, and now I can actually show you what I'm doing is basically there's the get NFT transfers endpoint, and this one triggers the webhook. But at that point, the get NFT sales endpoint doesn't have the data yet. That's why I have to make a timeout of about 5 minutes in there. So I can make sure the data is available at the NFT sales endpoint already before I push it to the database. And so now I can show you as I'm triggering this manually now and not through the web. That's why I have to comment this part and also this part. Now I go to my other computer very quickly, and I'm going to delete the last sales from the database. Give me a sec. Okay. Deleted that now, and now I go to log into the server. Go to the script that I was just showing you. Yep, there it is, and I'm going to trigger it. See that I'm fetching the floor prices. I need these for the push notification. Oh, here they come.
Nice.
Yeah, and I even made it this way. When the Trinitizer is open and you click on it, then the collection sound is being displayed. I don't know. You can hear the valve in the background. I don't know. And that's making so I was just playing around a little bit with that kind of stuff, doing that all for fun, and it was a great learning experience. So yeah, that's what's happening here. And now now let's have a look. Let's just reset all that I just did. And what's happening then is yeah, I'm basically pushing all that stuff in the database and do some magic with it and trigger the push notification, and that's it. And that was the most difficult and most and part with the biggest complexity of the whole Trinitizer. And I did it all with ChatGPT. It's really an amazing tool. I have to say all the time. Yeah. So
Amazing.
that's the story of the Trinitizer. Anything else you're interested in?
Yeah, that's amazing. There's so much code. I can only imagine how long it took you. I mean, even with ChatGPT, I guess there's so much work to productionize the code, isn't it? Test the webhooks and all that.
Absolutely. I stopped counting the hours at a certain point, and
Wow, yeah.
you could definitely. I mean, that script by itself is like 1,200 lines long, and usually, if you for best practices, you would actually split that up in multiple files and modularize it much more. But like I said, for me, this was a journey, and yeah, I would do many things differently now regarding code quality and architecture. But I'm really glad where this got me, and it doesn't need to be perfect. It just needs to work. Just needs to be great for the community to use it, and easy to use. And I actually don't care much about the code base at that point, really. But I think, I mean, it's all. Otherwise, I would have lost sight a long time ago. It's all, especially in the beginning, I was a little bit more. I don't know the word. I needed more structure, and that's why I did much more documentation, and I didn't do that anymore in the end. I just wanted to get it done.
Yeah, no, it looks good. I mean, it looks It looks well structured, well commented.
Yeah.
I couldn't tell it's done in a hurry.
So
Yeah,
I don't know
amazing.
if no one else wants to know anything, then we can cut this short too. So you got to tell me.
I have a couple questions for you.
Sure, go ahead.
So, let me just go back to, what would you say the most challenging part of building the website was?
Definitely the trading section, because there's just so much in there. And that part we didn't really talk about yet. Doing all the charts, the statistics, that was intense. Because basically, if you look at the database, I have the the complete sales history, every transaction happening on all of the contracts for all NFTs of the contract. So those are like 73,000 entries. And what I'm doing is I was just having a script run all night, fetching all the data. I'm making sure I have a good error handling and good retry mechanics there, because I was being rate limited. So I had to make sure that I don't overuse the API, and in case I did that, that the script didn't just infinitely run. And so that was a big learning experience for me, retries and error handling. And yeah, and then working with another great plugin I can recommend, which is Chart.js. It's an animated chart library, and you can do really cool stuff with it. So basically, what I'm doing here is I have a lot of functionality in here. I have let's just reload it to get the default settings. So it's the last 2 weeks. So basically, you see within the time period that you picked, how many NFTs sold and how much ETH was spent on the NFTs and how was that distributed across the different collections. And then you could see like for the complete sales history starting in October 2021. And the date range that you selected, let's say I just use April, for example, and this is only related to sales. You could see on the right-hand side, you have the selected date range, which is highlighted in gray on the left chart. And then you could start comparing and check out like which collections had which sales volume at what point in time. And I don't know, I figured that's kind of interesting, but it was hard to build. And then I have different views, monthly, weekly, daily, on the selected date range, depending on how large the date range was. So that's really, really complicated. And in here, which is a very interesting chart, I think, personally, because it shows you the ratio between ETH and WETH, or ETH. How do you pronounce that correctly? ETH, it would be ETH and WETH. I don't know.
Yeah, I've heard both. I say ETH, but I've heard both. Yeah.
Okay. So because that really tells you if you have a lot of WETH or WETH sales, you know that the market's really in trouble. And here you have much more ETH sales. That's because you have a healthy market and people do not need to accept offers. So that very nicely depicts our current market situation. And yeah, it will be great to see when this is going back up. And that time will come. So that was very tricky, Small, to get back to your question, to have that all built in here, because that's like a huge code base I had to do. And what I'm also doing is I'm grouping, like if the same wallet is picking up many items within a 24-hour time period, I group them and call them sweeps, for example, like a collection sweep, like a wheel sweep, or a cross collection sweep even. And what I'm also doing is I'm monitoring within the database who has, which sale is the first Wildwood asset, which is the first Trinity, which is the first 4chain, the first Gen Trinity. And then I basically show this information here. And that's really a mess, because if a wallet address or the owner of an NFT changes, then I have to go to the previous owner and reset the Boolean values back to 0. And it's not 100% reliable. It was very tricky. Yeah, so that's our cross collection purchase. I believe this was Digital Wilder. He's very active currently. And yes, that's him. So that was the biggest challenge, because I had acquired a certain amount of knowledge about coding at that point in time. And I figured, okay, now I want to do everything I can do, put in all the features which are ever possible. And so this was very challenging. And I would not want to do it again to that extent. It was a pain.
A lot of work.
Yeah, definitely. And I'm reading all the comments in here. On the API traffic, you were asking about, Small. I can tell you in private chat, because I don't want to expose my real account and my API keys right now. But I can give you the details if you want. Apache, yes. An XAMPP system on my local machine and on the hoster side as well. Oh man, you wrote a lot of stuff and I didn't even realize. Thanks. Okay. So tech stack. Small, is that answered sufficiently about my tech stack? Do you need some more info?
Yeah. No, I think you did. You answered pretty much everything.
Okay, great.
Thanks.
Database is just a regular MySQL database. Locally and on the server, I'm running on a Node.js environment. Oh, someone just bought an NFT. Offer accepted. 0.092 with the last sale was 3, so I lost a little bit. And yeah, on the front end side, I'm using JavaScript. I'm actually, which is kind of cool. Wow, someone's sweeping right now. Cool. I'm actually working with ES6, which is a more advanced version of JavaScript, which browsers do not correctly interpret, and it's not really cross-browser compatible. So what I'm doing is I'm writing code in ES6